life and want to give a particular perspective on equanimity. Hold on one moment here. So the Baal Shem Tov has a way of reading a verse from Psalms. The verse is Shviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I place the divine presence before me always. And that statement from the Psalms is a way of kind of reminding us that God is with us, is present with us everywhere. It's also something that people will create a visual meditative image that they could focus on. Sometimes it's a picture of a Yud He Vav He, and when they meditate or they pray, they'll have that Yud He Vav He right opposite them. Some people, it's very common in Tibetan traditions to have a mandala as something to focus on. But the name for this in the mystical Kabbalistic tradition is a shviti, something that you focus on visually, from that idea that I place the divine presence before me always. And the Baal Shem Tov, 18th century spiritual master, teaches that what the word shviti, which we translate as I place, it really comes from the word shaveh, which means to make equal. So he translates the verse as I experience equally God's presence before me always. I experience God's presence equally before me always. And he says that this is referring to hishtavut, which means equanimity. Sometimes we think about equanimity as I'm going to be able to keep my center and nothing is going to be able to throw me off or rile me. I'm not going to have any strong emotions one way or another. But the Baal Shem Tov's translation of this is a little different. When you experience the divine presence before you always, it doesn't mean that you're not feeling strong emotions based on what's ever happening, whether it's joy or fear or frustration or any of those, but that there is an awareness that no matter what we're experiencing, whether it's joyous or frustrating, that God's presence is there. And what does it mean for us to relate to the moment from a real sense of God is here in this moment, that there is infinite depth, that there is presence, that there is goodness, hidden maybe even in whatever that I'm experiencing? That allows a different orientation. So if I'm experiencing something that is really wonderful and feels great, I can be open to, this is wonderful and feels great because God is present here. I'm open to the blessing. I know the blessing is going to pass, but I'm grateful for what is here now. And when I'm in a place of frustration or something is not going according to how I would prefer it to go or however it is, then I'm able to and somehow hold on to this awareness that God is present here too. And how do I stay open? How do I look for whatever whether it's the lesson or whether it's the experience, what am I not seeing or experiencing right now that has something to teach me, to transform me? And that kind of orientation does not preclude us having any kind of strong emotions in whatever we're going through. We can still have great grief or anger or any of those things. But the place of hishtavut, of equanimity, is saying that even as I'm going through whatever it is, I'm holding on. There's a piece of me that is present to the fact that I can be open to this, that I don't have to push this experience away, because God is wanting to teach me, is wanting to reveal God's self to me in this particular moment. So that's the sense of hishtavut from equanimity from the Baal Shem Tov. And what I'd like to do is be able to practice this a little bit in our in our meditation. So invite you to find a comfortable place to sit, a position where you can sit still and not have to move for a period of time. Become aware of the contact of your feet on the floor. Notice the distance between the bottom of your spine and the top of your head. Feel the pressure of your bottom on the seat. So you're really aware of those two contact points, the feet on the floor, the bottom on your seat. The distance, the length of your spine, and where the top of your head ends. Feel your arms hanging out of your shoulder sockets and the resting place of your hands. Notice the movement of breath as it enters your nostrils or your mouth. When the inhale reaches its maximum length, notice the place where it switches over to an exhale and the body contracts, following the air all the way out until that moment when the exhale switches back to an inhale and you feel the body expand again. Let all of these aspects float in your awareness. The shape of your body in space, the contact of your body and the different surfaces, the movement of breath, expanding and contracting the body, the air on your face or your arms, your legs. Feel your desire to be present, to be open, to fully embody every aspect of this experience, to be awake to the divine presence in this moment. As the aliveness manifests through breath, through body sensation, through the air that surrounds you, through the sounds in the room and beyond. Notice that desire to open, to be here with it all. Your breath is the steady rhythm at the center, the expansion and the contraction of the body. And everything is radiating aliveness, presence, God. It's this willingness to be open, to be right here, open to the fullness of our experience, no matter whether it presents as comfortable or uncomfortable. The opening to the divine in all of it. This is hishtavut, equanimity. I experience God equally in everything before me and within me, always. There is nowhere to go. Only this moment, only the alive, unfolding presence here and now, moment by moment by moment. As you witness all the aspects of your experience, breath, body sensation, expanding, contracting, thoughts, all of it, and continue to open to all of it as unfolding divine presence. Also be aware of who's watching, who is experiencing this moment, who is experiencing breath and body. And you can sense into that ever-present awareness. That is also the Holy One. This awareness, this who, is eternal. Even when we sleep, the awareness is present, witnessing dream, even present in the deepest brain states of sleep. Let this ever-present awareness that is watching the unfolding of the moment also be what we are here with. I'm going to be quiet for a period of time and just invite you to continue to be here with all aspects of your experience. If you find yourself getting lost in, or your consciousness contracting around a particular thought or strong sensation in your body or anything at all, as soon as you're aware of where you are, just allow your attention to expand to include not only the subject of that thought or strong sensation, but the entire field of your experience, breath, body. And awareness of breath is always a good grounding place to come back to. That if you find yourself going into unconsciousness, sleepiness, or getting lost in one particular part of your experience, the breath, awareness of breath is a good grounding, a good place to take you back, to bring you back here. And so I invite you to focus your attention back on breath if you need to. And then once your attention is rooted in breath, you can expand to include wider and wider circles of awareness. Iti Adonai lenegditami, lenagditami. Shiti Adonai lenegditami, lenegditami. Ay, 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 Shiti Adonai lenegditami, lenegditami. Shiti Adonai lenegditami, lenegditami. Ay, 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 Yadadai, 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 yeah, da da, yeah, da da, yeah, yeah, da da, yeah, da da, da da, da yeah, da da, yeah, da. So we'll we'll keep streaming and keep the spotlight on me, but please, if you have questions or comments or anything that you'd like to share, please unmute yourselves and go ahead and share, and we'll get to that. Any questions or comments about this idea of equanimity, of hishtavut, about how to in everything?
Good question.
Yes, before you do, there is somebody who is not muted has some kind of rolling sound,
There's a fan.
or maybe the fan. So go ahead.
So my question is are there, what happens for me is when I try to focus on my intention, I think I get caught up too much in the overthinking that I'm not present because I'm thinking about that. Do you have any um, helpful ways to think about it and keep the intention, but not get overwhelmed in the overthinking?
When you say that, the intention and the overthinking, do you mean like the meditation instructions? Like, how would you characterize the overthinking? What's the content of that thought stream?
I guess where I'm coming from is I try to relate relate the intention to something that's happened or is happening, and then I tend to think about that, and then I drift too much.
Got it. So you're taking the teaching or the intention and then bringing it to some other aspect of your life that's and then trying to integrate and apply that teaching to that other part of your life.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So that is maybe what we would call contemplation. Contemplation, in that what you're really doing is you're exercising your thinking, but you're exercising your thinking in a more conscious way. You're trying to take these concepts or ideas and apply them to situations in your life, to other things. It's all happening in a mental. It's all a mental exercise experience, and that's actually a form of meditation. That is exactly so. So I think that in and of itself, that is a wonderful practice to do. It's a wonderful practice to reflect on different parts of your life and try to bring spiritual ideas and principles, wisdom principles to those things. What our practice is here is to be completely present with what is right here and right now, not something else that happened at a different time. So what you're wanting to do is bring these ideas. Let's say it's seeing God equally in everything. How do I experience this moment in that? So in my breath, in the body sensations. And if a thought comes, that is maybe a thought about an event or something else that happened, how can you be able to receive the experience of that thought, the image, the conceptual, whatever, and be present to the underlying divine energy that's in the thought? And that's not necessarily in the content, right? Because so much of the time when we're thinking, we're caught up in the content of the thought, the images, the concepts, the ideas. But there is an experiential aspect of thinking itself. There is, if we want to talk about biologically, right, there's neurons that are firing, but even on just the level of kind of non-physical, of just mental, there's an energy that comes along with thinking. And can you be present if the thoughts are what's coming into your awareness? Can you be present with the underlying energy in those thoughts without the content? And as soon as you and then as you're aware of that, the underlying energy, then you expand your attention back out to be aware of breath, body, sound, and the energy of the thought, until that energy of the thought will just pass and go away like everything does. So that's what I would encourage or invite you in this meditation practice, and to save that contemplative exercise that you're doing, because that's also really valuable, for a different time.
Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts? Meditation practice?
Well, Rabbi,
Yes.
Kavod, my mind was very busy today as well. And, I think about the situation we're in with the virus, and it's kind of a situation with no foreseeable end. So it seems like to be able to be in the moment seems more important, always important, more important than ever. And at the same time, I'm torn because I feel like I constantly have to be taking action to do something to help somebody make things better. But I need this ability at the same time to just, be in the moment because, mentally, I mean, I think our mental health is at risk if we think too much about the future.
Yeah. Moria, what I would really suggest is that in the Four Worlds meditation that I lead, that's I've referred to, that's on the website, it's on this Insight Timer app. The first place that we bring our attention in that meditation is towards our belly, our core. And as we breathe into our belly and breathe out, we're breathing in groundedness. We're bringing in and the phrase that goes along with it is either it is perfect or it is whole. But really what we're breathing in the sense is, I don't have to go anywhere or do anything right now. I'm completely safe. I'm completely rooted. In this moment, nothing needs to be changed. And we kind of really ground that awareness in our belly. And I think that would be a really helpful direction when you start meditating, to really just put your attention on your belly. And as you're breathing in your belly, you're really breathing in that sense of, I can root myself here in this seat. You might even, a nice visual is to even imagine that there's roots growing down from your bottom all the way into the earth, just kind of grounding you in that seat, and really breathing in the sense of, this moment is whole, this moment is safe. All of this is like, I don't need to go anywhere and do anything. And just really, really affirm that reality for the meditation, because as we know, there's lots to do. As you articulated just right off, there's lots to do in this world, personally, in our personal relationships, lots to do in our wider world with everything going on, so much to do, and we will get to that. But part of, I think, the wisdom of Shabbat, right? Shabbat is the wisdom that's saying 6 days of the week you can do your work. 6 days of the week you can be active in helping create and make things better and different. But 1 day a week, you're going to be open to the creation. You're going to let it go. You're going to know that everything is whole and perfect as it is. And that teaching around Shabbat, at least from the spiritual masters too, isn't just about Friday night to Saturday night. It's any time you take a moment, like we're doing in meditation, that's a moment of Shabbat. So, our lifestyle is not Jewish tradition is not a monastic tradition. We don't have Shabbat, 75% of the time, and going in action and taking care of our needs 25% of the time. It's really the other. But we want to really shmirat Shabbat. We want to guard these moments of meditation, internally, to say, I can truly let this go. I can truly embody this place.
Yes, I have good intentions.
Yeah, you do. So try that belly, like grounding in belly. Sometimes that's a real rooted place to root.
Thank you.
Sure.
So Rabbi, if I could just try to get it wrapped around my head, because I did have a lot of thoughts today and some tears were starting to come. And the goal is not to, one of the goals, I think, if I'm hearing it right, is to let all that come through, not fight it.
Correct.
And it just works its way through. Because I start to judge it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this during meditation. And I think the gift is that I did feel it. It was just hard to let them go and get to the other side.
Right. Exactly, Audrey. There's no place to get to. There's no place to get to. There's no need to let it go. Just what you said is right. Is it comes in, you experience it, you're present for it. But so what's the difference in meditation between being present for your emotional experience and your thought experience versus how we usually are in the rest of our day? The difference is that you're bringing an intention, you're bringing a kavanah to that experience. And the kavanah that you're bringing is that kavanah that's saying the divine is here, is in this too. I can really be open to it. I can look for you, God. I can open to you, that there's something holy and beautiful and teaching and opening about everything that I'm going through right now. And so I'm gonna open my heart to this, and I'm gonna open to you in this, right? There's this sense of like opening to you is as we have that in our hearts to the divine, we have this inner intuitive sense of the presence that holds it all together, that connects it all together. And hopefully we haven't been so traumatized by our early experiences around the word God and what that means as far as the judgmental this and that. That's something that all of us have to work through. But if we just take that dogma scraper away and just go to that kind of intuitive sense of presence that we know, that's what we're opening to in our experience. So there's no place to get to, there's no other side, there's no, it is exactly what's here and opening.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have time for one more. Okay. All right, everybody. Pleasure to be with you. Good to see
Rabbi,
you. Yes,
may I share with the group about coffee and community on Friday?
please do.
Okay, so my husband Miles and I are trying something new, and it's called Coffee and Community.